suddenly be like, "Oh, he's dissonant. He just hides it well."
So yeah, that's
Very
the
well then.
situation.
I suppose through we
I
go.
think through we go.
Okay, absolutely.
All of us are submerged, right? So
Yep.
we're not going to be torn apart.
Has Admiral
No,
done his
Admiral-
first submission?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
So when I say we're all submerged,
You're like,
right,
we're all
Admiral's like,
submerged, yet he
"Uh-oh."
holds up a hand. Excuse me. No.
All right. So I'm going to give you some advice.
Hold on to your
Don't
ass.
Don't do it. Turn back now.
I'm going
It's
to ask
crap.
you a question first. How reflective are you?
I try not to be overly reflective, but I've been accused of being too much so.
Are you really self-critical?
Not terribly, no.
Have any suicidal urges?
Not until you just asked.
Well, that doesn't really count as a suicidal urge, by the way. All right, so what's probably going to happen is you're going to be confronted. You're going to have all of your experiences very illuminated. And when you come out of it, you'll be stronger, or you're going to collapse under the load. You've led a long, varied life. If you've accepted
Don't
your
give
faults-
me a eulogy.
It's not a eulogy. I'm saying if you've accepted your faults in the living of that life, and you seem stable enough, so you probably have, I think it'll be okay. I got through it.
Mhm.
I made some tremendous cock-ups. So
It is Crash's love affair with unconsciousness a result of him doing this, or was that just
it's
his?
He's a scholar. He wonders if it'll work. There's only
I
one
know.
way to find out. Science.
I'm just telling you, Crash, that unconsciousness is not the solution to everything.
Well, and
Now,
I'm wondering.
I don't know if I buy
actually
that.
Now, I'm seriously wondering if unconsciousness would actually protect you from anything, because I'm pretty sure the Event Horizon doesn't care if you're really there for it, because it's totally there for you.
That is definitely not how I would describe it, but
My-
I see what you're saying.
My favorite part about this is the least philosophical. Like in this current node, this is the least philosophical conversation that's going on right now. It's my favorite part about this.
They're all like, "What if he knock you out? Don't knock me out."
Yeah. And
I think you need to experience it, but it's
Yeah.
good for you too.
I'm not frightened. I'm simply curious.
Just be resolved.
That I
What's
can
the worst that could happen? And with that,
No.
Crash will walk through.
Dude, never end on that sentence. I'm not just...
He's already gone.
yeah,
Too
yeah,
late.
exactly. Like just immediately walks on
now,
through.
so now we all jump in. That's
Yeah.
fine. But I'm like, never end on that.
Oh, okay. So, first thing that happens is you all experience oneness all at once at the same time, and you become one with everyone else who is currently submerged inside of this, resonance rift.
Whoops.
So immediately,
feels dirty.
separating out from, like, your personality melds together with all of you, as well as the hundreds of other people who are currently in here, as well as you can feel that, like, you're connected to everything else out in the world, right? Like everything else and everyone else, and every icon and persona is an extension of self, right? You are this is my favorite line ever. You are all part of the one global WAN, right? You are all part of the one WAN.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my favorite one ever. Holy shit! Like I've said some gems today, but that's my favorite one. So yes, you are all part of the one global WAN, and you are all part of it, and it is all part of you. You are all just extensions of the one device, right? That's the situation that you can't, like, so that's the first thing that happens, right? And then you become more aware of self, right? That you are in that WAN that expands over all of the universe, right? You are a single entity within it, right? That you can control, that you have active control over from the experts. Like, you have a real out-of-body experience, and you're like, I am the host that controls my device, right? So you just realize that you are just a being that can control the device that you've been given, which is your body and mind. And this is where it starts to turn really quick on you, because suddenly all of you experience all of your memories from a third person, and you are locked in place as you individually experience every single experience of yours in ultraviolet clarity, right? But memories don't hold as well as ultraviolet programs do. So you travel through every single one of your memories in a way that all of the memories have been edited to reflect a greater reality, right? They have all been based, like the entire experience of that memory that you are experiencing right now. The experience itself has been turned up to 11. What's up? Hold on one sec.
My immersion.
But so yeah, the situation is that you all experience your own memories from your perspective with the perspective filter turned up to 11, right? So what you feel happened in that situation is reflected 10 times back to you, right? So if you feel you made a mistake in that situation, you made a mistake, right? Even if the actual reality of the situation was not that. That's how it feels. And you're going to do that for every single memory in every single one of your heads. Now, Crash hates this, but has gotten used to it. Progress, how do you feel about these experiences?
They are phenomenally traumatic and not ever to be sought out. Because he always ends up feeling better at the end and not at all in the during.
Yeah.
So in the moment, it's crushing because he's still got survivor's guilt, and he still feels like the world betrayed him, and he's still positive his brother died because of him, etc., etc. So it's never, ever good. But since he's gotten through this before, he knows that in the end, when he gets his perspective back, it'll just make him more determined not to repeat mistakes.
Gotcha. What about Crash? How's Crash handling this?
Well, you said it. He fucking hates this. He is currently attempting to call the sprite, like, as soon as possible to make this stop.
Oh, well, time stops in these things, right? Like, you experience all of time in an instant. Of course. Alright, like, you experience your entire life in an instant. But that instant goes on for your entire life. Naturally.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So you're just gonna have to sit tight and just experience
it. Overcome with an intense feeling of he's not being paid nearly enough for this.
And you know, and the funniest part about this, right, and the thing that Crash probably hates the most about this, right, is that you know that thoughts like that get you nowhere in these situations. And the only thing that does is when you actually accept things about yourself and decide to grow as a human being, which is probably what takes Crash the longest about this, right? Is just getting to the point where he's like, fine, I'll work on this. Okay, fine.
You win. I'm a terrible person. I'm sorry.
like it probably is like, okay, we'll spend the first 3 months and I'll just sit here just being a sarcastic jerk. I know it doesn't help. I've done this 3 times. I know that being a sarcastic jerk does nothing. I don't care. You can't make me face myself. And then 3 months later, you'll finally fucking break and be like, you know what? Fine, I am a jerk. I don't care. And then immediately done, right? Like these things are basically purgatory for Crash, right? Where it's just like, I am going to
They're just the worst.
Yeah. Now, Admiral, this is your first experience, and you are experiencing every single one of your memories in hyper-reality, in an instant. Your entire life is playing out at you, scene by scene. Every single one of your memories.
I'm gonna be here a lot longer than the rest of the guys.
Good point. Crash is about the same age as you are.
Oh yeah? Oh well, he doesn't count. He's a dandelion eater.
I'm no elf.
But yeah, so like how are you going about this, Admiral? Like being shown your entire life frame by frame, but through the filter of your own failure.
Well, this is kind of interesting, actually, for Admiral. Both because once you reach a certain age, you're bound to become more reflective of life and how how you've spent it. Youth is wasted on the young, all of that mess. So it also goes into his faith because he is powerfully agnostic, but his family was very strongly Buddhist. So the whole idea of karma and life cycle, all of that was tied in deeply to his upbringing.
Yep.
Which means in a lot of ways he would probably be fairly welcoming of this idea.
He would probably see this as some sort of rebirth, right? Like, this would probably fit in with
what
he believes. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, not to say that the failures and the sting of being reminded of them wouldn't smart over and over again, but also he would be much more likely to embrace it as a lesson.
This is very Buddhist right now, isn't it? Like, this is like, I'm
it
reborn and like all of my past wrongdoings are coming back to haunt me, but I need to learn to accept them and learn the lesson that I need to so that I can lead a better life in the next life. This is very Buddhist.
Same lifetime reincarnation.
Yeah.
Bear the karmic burden of your previous.
Yeah.
This gives a lot of introspection, all right. The nice thing about this is also that he only half believed what he was hearing from other technomancers. He's never messed with resonance beyond threading. And he wasn't even certain if he was going to be able to believe in any of this until he saw it himself. So it's awakening something in him.
But yeah,
like a recreation, maybe.
The fact that you can relate this to Buddhism, or at least your childlike teaching, probably helps a hell of a lot. Because this is if you treat it like that, if you treat this as I am here to suffer so that I am a stronger person in my next life, then you'll get through this very easily, probably. I mean, as easily as being made aware of every single one of your own flaws for eternity could possibly go.
The failures that he's had most recently before just coming to Seattle will sting him the most.
Yes.
But up to that point, he'll be handling it fairly well. It's only at the end that he'll feel like he's getting really raked across the coals.
So, but my question is then, if you take this as a Buddhist, are you going to take this with the nihilism that Buddhism sort of like teaches as well, in that yes, I did wrong, but like only on a karmic level, the universe only cares about the karma effect and they don't care about the physical? Or are you going to try and keep this grounded in reality?
He's going to have some soul searching to do after this. I think it may actually depend upon how this turns out in the end.
Okay.
Because if he experiences all this suffering and at the end it's all for naught, then he might ditch that enlightenment. Whereas if everything works out for the best, then he might consider reclaiming that, embracing more of his matrix / spiritual self, and forswearing the physical except as a means to an end. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm glad that we had this. That was a very cool one. That was a very cool little interaction there. But yeah, and after the lifetime passes in an instant for all of you, Crash it takes 3 times as longer for, because he's just like, no, you can't make me. I fucking refuse. You cannot make me face my darkness. And then it comes down to the point of I am literally never getting out of here until I do so. So, fine, I'm a terrible person. Boop, done.
Embrace tranquility already.
So that's the situation. Now, I apologize to leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger, but I got to take a quick 5-minute break. We'll be back in 5.